Hi, I'm Mike, and this is Jess, and welcome to Goodwin's Farm 207.
So as you can see today, we're out in the kitchen, and we've got a couple things that we're going to be doing today. We're going to be making apple cider vinegar, and we also are going to be drying some peppermint leaves. So make sure you stick around to the end, and we've got a lot of good content in here. And I will also post the recipe for the apple cider vinegar.
Should be fun.
Hi, so we're back in the kitchen, and today we're actually going to be doing something that we've never done before, which is making apple cider vinegar. So I found a recipe online, and hopefully it works.
Yeah.
It is kind of a longer process, so make sure you hit the like button and the notification bell so you're notified when we post new videos, because we will have to post an update on how this actually comes out. So here we go. We're going to go ahead and get started with the process. The first part is you want to use 1 cup of apple scraps, or apples if that's what you have. We're actually using apples from our own apple tree. They're a little bit gone bad, but they're still all right. They've all been washed already. And once we have a cup, we'll put them in the jars, make sure that it's fully covered by the apples, and then we'll put some cheesecloth on it. So stay tuned to the end. Step 1, make sure you wash your apples, and then we'll have to cut them up. This one I'm cutting a little bit differently, just because it does have some rotten spots on it. I don't think that'll really matter, but I just also want to make sure that, like, you know, there's no unexpected surprises. I'm using a paring knife from Pampered Chef. I do not sponsor them. I do not sell them. They do not sponsor us, but I do like their stuff. Another thing that you'll want to know is you do want to start with sterilized jars. These jars that we have are just some mason jars. They have been sterilized already, and I already put some clean water in them just to make it easier for filming. It's just room temperature water, because once we're done putting the apples in there, making sure the apples are covered by the water, we're actually going to put it in a warm, dark place for a couple weeks. You will eventually filter this once you've let it set in process for a couple weeks. You will filter it, then you'll let it set for a couple more weeks before you filter it again, and then it should be ready to use, at least according to the internet. So we'll see. All of the leftover stuff from the apples here will be going to our goats, and they will be loving it. These are some of the dropped apples from our apple tree out back. So they've got, you know, some bruising and stuff on it, but perfectly safe to use for something like this. So I have about a cup here. I'm gonna just put this in here and see how this looks. Because this is a pretty big jar, I think I am gonna put just a little bit more in it. Looks good there. So then it says to just make sure there's enough water to cover the apples. And there's about 1 inch of headspace here on the jar. It doesn't say you have to do that in this particular recipe, but I have seen that in other recipes, so better to be safe, right? Because there is going to be some fermenting action going on here. Alright, then you just take a clean cheesecloth and a mason jar lid like this. I'm going to put the cheesecloth over and hopefully get the lid on. And then this is going to go in our warm, dark cupboard for a couple weeks, and we will again notify you how it comes out on a future video. So I'm going to go ahead and do the second one, and then we'll get to the drying peppermint. So as you can tell, that was a really quick, easy process. I'm pretty excited to see how this turns out in a couple weeks.
Yeah.
And we will definitely update you. I'll also, as long as I don't forget, I will post the recipe in the description below so that you have that to follow. If you do give this a try, we'd love to hear about it and see how it turns out for you.
Yeah, let us know in the comments what worked for you.
Yeah, so next up, we're going to go over how we dry our peppermint. We grow our own peppermint here in our herb garden. It's one that does very, very well. As most of you know, I'm not a fantastic gardener. I'm learning as I go here, but that plant seems to kind of come in and take over everything, which is great. And I love peppermint tea, especially in the winter. So we've been drying leaves for that. Plus I also give it to the goats. They really seem to like it. It's supposed to help with their digestion. And I think most of you know we really try hard to do a more natural approach with our animals, more authentic and more of how life that they would have lived if they were in the wild. So stick around and we'll do that. So we're drying some peppermint. Here's some freshly cut peppermint that we washed in cold water, and we're just gonna pull the leaves off and put them on a pan and put them in the oven for a couple hours on 180 degrees, checking them frequently, turning the leaves as needed. Once they're dry and crumbly, we'll put them away. We're just picking the leaves off the stem and putting them on some parchment paper on a cookie sheet, getting them ready to go in the oven. Once it's on the pan, we just put it in the oven start with an hour, and then we check it. This one's already been in there for a little bit. These ones are just about ready to come out. Once they're really crumbly out to the touch, yeah, those ones are ready. That's how you know they're ready to come out. So it's in the oven and it's drying. I gotta tell you, the entire house smells like peppermint. It's pretty amazing. And once it's dry, I just use these little mason jars, sterilized, and I like to crumble it up because more than likely I'll be using it for tea or to make a herbal drink. You can leave the leaves whole, but I just crush them as I put them in a little bit just because that's how I'm going to end up using them. It's probably in a tea bag or a drink or seasoning for something. Pro tip, once you have them in the jar, don't necessarily put them in storage right away. Leave them out for a couple days and make sure there's no moisture that's accumulating in the jar from it. Just make sure you really did get all the moisture out. If you notice any moisture in it, then take the crumbles and put them back on some parchment paper and put them back in the oven to finish drying them out.
Well, through the magic of television, here we are with our dried peppermint.
Yeah, so some of it we decided to actually crush up and put in these great little jars. This will be something that I use for like tea or to put in the goats and minerals, things like that. And here is some that is more of whole leaves, which is good to put in like water or things like that if you just want like a little bit of peppermint flavoring in your water. Again, I will probably feed this to the goats for treats and stuff too throughout the winter. They really seem to like that. So yeah, I was actually pretty impressed with how much we ended up getting. We had a few jars, and this will go in our pantry as well for storage for our food goods.
Yeah, and that peppermint really just grows really well, like you said. It just kind of takes over.
Yeah, one of the added benefits too of drying peppermint in your oven is it makes your house smell amazing.
Yes, very
So
true.
that is something else to kind of keep in mind, is that smell is just amazing. We've actually done peppermint infused essential oils as well. Maybe I'll do a different video on that. If that's something that you guys are interested in, then please comment below. It's pretty easy to make that as well.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you found this helpful and informative. If you have any questions or comments, please post them below. Again, I will try to remember to put the recipe for the apple cider vinegar on there, and we will do future videos to update. So make sure you hit that like button, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you're notified when we post new videos.
Thanks for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.